Well, it's happening. It's yeah, yeah. It's the same as like your crowds. It's just we. Well, it's finally happened. We can give Gueye some credit on Where Rovers Walk. Welcome to episode 20. We're also talking about that Luton result, the crowds at Ewood, and why does the Championship feel so flat this season? We've got Mark, Tom, and Jason back with us. Harry is away this week. So let's jump straight into the Luton game. Mark, let's give Gueye some credit, shall we, this week? Was that his best game in a Blackburn shirt?
Yeah, definitely. I thought he was really good on Saturday. I think he really held the line superbly. There was a lot of strong performances, but I was really impressed the way he held the ball up, bringing others into play, laying the ball off sensibly when he could. Obviously, I think we were a week or two ago. We were talking about him, how he didn't look the part and all that. So whether the goal last midweek has given him obviously that bit of a boost as well, a bit of confidence. But no, he was definitely one of the standouts for me. And again, yeah, credit where credit's due. And again, great time to be coming into form as well, if that's the case.
Yeah. Speaking of form, so shall we have a look at the form table, shall we, for last 6 games? There we look.
There we go.
Wow. Look at that. Brilliant.
Yeah. Are you all pinching yourselves at this? I mean, I know we joke about it and we've talked about promotions and automatics, but genuinely, is this on, Tom? Is this it? Is this the season?
I mean, I've been saying from week 1 that I'd be happy with a playoff push, but I think the biggest difference I've noticed really since John Eustace took over, is the style of players has dramatically changed, and we're now ball playing on the floor side rather than hoofing the ball along up top. And I think he's got the midfield 3, that little trio of Cantwell, Travis, and Tronstad, and then he lets the flair players in, like your Cozier-Duberrys and like Ryan Hedges and Torrey Stolen, those sort of players. He gives them free rein. So I think they have that confidence. They trust the manager, trust them to do that kind of thing and not feel too aggrieved if they lose the ball. Because obviously those 3 in midfield, especially Tronstad and Travis, are battle-hardened warriors this season. And Travis is like a new signing. So I think the fact we're actually deserving these wins. We're not like nicking a goal. We're not like scrapping a 1-0 win. We thoroughly deserve these results. And I think in previous seasons, especially under kind of the latter end of the Mowbray era and JDT, so many times we could never see out a game. And the fact the defence is so solid at the moment. And I think Hyman, Danny Bart are like, a breath of fresh air considering their ages. I think it's fantastic to see. And I think we thoroughly warrant a place at the top of that form guide.
And let's not forget, if you'd have beaten Portsmouth in that cancelled game, you would now sit 2 points behind Leeds in second place. 2 points behind Leeds. This could be another Ipswich story. In fact, we had that mentioned in another team saying that we need an Ipswich kind of story. Let's look at some tweets and shall we, Jason? 6 consecutive wins, 5 consecutive wins. Am I dreamland? I love Sir John Eustace. Cozier-Duberry and Gueye were unplayable today. Everyone was brilliant, but especially those 2. Talk to me about Cozier-Duberry, please.
Oh, do you know, my lad has been screaming for him to play. He's been screaming for it. We need to start every week. We need to start. It's a young lad. He's not going to get, he's going to get bit parts if he does well when he comes on. Saturday, that first 45 minutes, it's the best player I've seen a Rovers shirt for a long time. Luton just could not live with him. It got to the stage where even before he's receiving the ball, they're fouling him before he's got the ball because they don't want him to get the ball. He was brilliant. And I think now he's going to be able to move. And he was such a danger. And I think he helped Gueye's game a lot because he was whipping crosses in left, right and centre. He never hesitates over a cross. Every time he got the ball, he was trying to turn to run down the wing to put a cross in. Old-style winger, which is not much. You don't see it much these days. I thought he was brilliant. What a player. I think he's going to be starting for the next few games for me.
Great summary. Let's talk about Leonard a bit as well, Mark, if that's okay. A bit of a cameo from him. There was this tweet from Kyle. He said, "I would have loved Leonard to have get the goal at the end just to top it off, but let's not get too greedy. How good is it being a Rovers fan these days? We've had some torrid times in the last 10 years, but now it's starting to look like something special is going on." First of all, on Leonard, and then on that point about it's special, and then that'll link us nicely to why no one's coming to watch you. Leonard first.
Yeah, it was good for Leonard to again. Obviously, we've said this season. Obviously, he's had his injury problems. He's on his way back, and he got another cameo. And every time he seems to get a cameo appearance, he always seems to get a big chance. So that's telling me that he's obviously getting in those right positions. And you think, well, it's going to hopefully fall to him, and he's going to get a goal or two. And as I said again, it's just great to have. We need the options now, because again, obviously we're coming into January. If we can add one or two players that we've talked about in previous weeks, and I know we've talked about getting another striker in, but we can't forget about Leonard. And if we get him fully fit, he is going to be another valuable addition to that squad, and another option for Eustace to use. And again, it's just everything's just positive at the minute, isn't it? You can't pick anything wrong at the moment, and all the options are really great. And just long may it continue, really. So it's just superb at the minute. It really is. And again, I've got to say, I didn't expect Cozier-Duberry to start on Saturday. I was quite shocked when I saw his name on the team sheet. I know Campbell was suspended, so it's quite, again, another bold move by Eustace to chuck him straight in there, put him in. But it's just like he's just getting a tune out of everybody at the minute. It doesn't seem to matter who's playing, who's coming on. It just seems to be. Yeah, everyone's just getting a tune out of all the players at the minute, which is superb.
Yeah. Why aren't the crowds coming back then in their floods, Tom? Because okay, it's not beautiful football that you're watching, not Barcelona-esque, but it's effective, and you'd expect the attendances to be going up. But why aren't they?
Honestly, I mean, I don't go to many home games because of where I live, but I think the pull for the Championship, it's not there so much for the kids who are growing up now with the mega bucks of the Premier League, and obviously Blackburn being in the area of Lancashire it is. There's so many bigger teams, so to speak, around the area. So the youngsters aren't necessarily going to support Blackburn, rather than they're going to this Man City, Liverpool, Everton, bigger teams in the area. I think the cost of living as well is a big factor. It costs a lot of money, as we've discussed before. If you've got a small family, going to a game is going to set you back a few £100s. But I think, and also as well, a lot of the older kind of fan base still have very much got the Venky's mindset in their heads that they're the be-all and end-all of all the doom and gloom surrounding Rovers the last 10, 15 years. And some of them, I know a few fans you can't get over the fact of what they did. I know Jason spoke a few weeks ago about how they've done quite a lot of good of late. Kind of keeping the club afloat, but I think some of the fans can't get over that as well. There's a few options, I think, as to why the fans aren't coming back. Again, ticket pricing is expensive. I know it's Championship, but it's still £30 a pop for a ticket. And I think they should do more of an incentive, I think, to get the fans in. Like, kids come for free, or when they've got on match day, if there's still like 15,000 empty seats, reduce the prices massively. Some sort of thing to get the fans in, because when the fans are in, I mean, Leeds, for example, and Sunderland are going to bring 7,500 to even pull the entire Darwin end. It adds to the atmosphere, and you can feel it. And the players can feel it, I think, as well. So when you're playing in front of 13,000, yeah, it's great. But if you can get 20,000+ in there, I think it will massively impact the play. And the players will feel that. And I think it could, we really could be the 12th man this year if they can get a few more bums on seats and fans at the door.
Okay. Jason, any thoughts?
I thought the Blackburn end on Saturday looked a bit busier than normal, to be fair. I sit in the Riverside, so I face the Jack Walker. And it's normally pretty bare on the edges. And it looked a bit fuller to me, I thought, on Saturday. I think the attendances at Rovers seem to increase very slowly. When they do start to increase, they don't. It's only the big games we get a few thousand more on, really. I think Tom said it, Venkers are the reason, and a lot of fans have very openly voiced that on social media, that Venkers are the reason. As soon as they go, we'll be back. I just think this far down the line, I think we should be past that now. I can see why it hurt people a few years ago. I didn't go for a long time because of that, but I want to support the club. I look so forward to Saturdays and midweek games under the lights at Ewood. It's an highlight of my week now, so I look forward to it. But I think Venkers are the ultimate reason, because he's very openly voiced. But I think attendances are slightly going up. I think it looked a bit fuller for me on Saturday, and I didn't expect it to be, with it being Luton, with all due respect to Luton. It's not a big game for us, really, but...
of all the teams you might have predicted to put a spanner in the works in your season, I don't think any of you were predicting it to be Wolverhampton Wanderers, because at the weekend, of course, they sacked their manager, Gary O'Neill, and we talked about it on this channel a couple of weeks ago. Why doesn't John Eustace get the recognition? Odds to be the next Wolves manager, and there he is in fifth place, 12 to 1. Not that we want him to go, and John, if you're watching this, please stay. Do not go anywhere. We want the Rovers. You want to be in the Premier League next year with Rovers. But Mark, what are the percentage chances do you think of Wolves picking up the phone this week?
It's one of them. When they sacked Gary O'Neill, I must admit, I think we used this with the Midlands connection, obviously with him, coming from the Midlands and all that. That's the bit that worries me a little bit. I was thinking about it earlier today, and I think it's one of them. Obviously, he's going to start getting noticed. That's obvious. We said that last week on here, but now it's getting to that stage of the season now where more and more clubs are starting to sack managers, and then you think, oh no, they're going to look at him. I think they'd be silly not to be looking at somebody like Eustace. I think the only saving grace for me, I think nowadays a lot of Premier League clubs, when they're sacking managers, they're scared of taking a chance on a manager that's not got Premier League experience. And I think that's the only thing that might stop the interest or any potential interest really happening. I think, a few years ago, teams may just look in that Championship and pluck a manager from there. But I really think now that Wolves, for example, I really hope they don't go for Eustace. I think they'll go for some Portuguese manager or something like that we've never heard of. I do think usually they'll go for either somebody that's proven in Europe or somebody that's already managed in the Premier League. So that's what I'm holding on to. But then another job might come available, in the new year. It might be a top-end Championship club. And then again, his name's going to keep getting linked, somebody like West Brom or somebody like that. So it's unfortunately, it's just one of them. It's when you start being successful, and like I was saying, football, there's always somebody bigger, and coaches, managers, players alike that they all want to progress in their own careers. I'm just really hoping it's not, the Wolves. I'm thinking just appoint somebody quick and just get it out of the way, so we don't have to get linked with, don't get linked with him. So that's what I'm holding on to at the minute. So fingers crossed.
The other way is that Danny Roll from Sheffield Wednesday will go to Southampton, and when we asked them who would you replace him with, once again, here we are. So, there's a bit of a dangerous week for Rovers this week, having for no fault of their own. Last little conversation we wanted with you this week, then obviously it's Millwall at the weekend, which is a tough nut to crack. They are managerless, of course. Millwall. Is football just in general in the Championship this season? Some fans have been saying it feels a bit flat. It hasn't kind of kicked into life. Now, you're the last fans to want to ask about this because you're having a whale of a time. But can you understand generally why the wider football public are feeling a little bit like football's in a little bit of a lull at the moment, Jason?
Like I say, from our point of view, no, but give us a few weeks. We'll be in the same mindset of it as everybody else. It's I lost interest in the Premier League watching it a long time ago. I think it's boring. I don't think the football's exciting to watch. Even the big derbies, that Manchester derby weekend, I didn't watch it. I forgot it was on. That's how interested I am. It's only when I got to work this morning and they're all United fans and they were singing and dancing and doing whatever they were doing. And it was only then I thought, oh yeah, that was on yesterday. And that seems to be people's attitude. I don't think the product's very good. I think that's the problem. There's all this money being spent and look at Man City. They're the side everybody seems to want to watch week in, week out. 1 win in 11. The product isn't very good anymore. And even the big teams, the best thing about the Premier League at the moment is Notts Forest. I think from a championship point of view, I just think it's a better league to watch. I enjoy watching championship games on a Friday night and on a lunchtime on a Saturday and stuff like that. I like watching them. I think it is competitive. I think it is entertaining. I like the lower league stuff. I think it's the top end of English football. I think that's poor at the moment. And I think money's to blame. Sky Sports, let's blame them.
Tom, what's your view on it? No, I can completely agree with what Jason was saying. I mean, I've become quite disillusioned with the Premier League in the last couple of years. And I don't really watch it anymore. But I watch all the championship highlights and all the Rovers games. And I tipped into the EFL at the weekend. And some of the goals that have been scored down in League One and League Two are really quite special. I mean, where do you get a player scoring 30-plus goals for a team that struggles with relegation last season in Smodic? I mean, you've got a merry-go-round of managers that are cutting their teeth in the Championship and then going up to the Premier League. The one thing I could say with the Championship that some people might say it's a little bit predictable at the top end, and you tend to get the same 3 or 4 teams that come down from the Premier League that are going to be the ones that go up again. But this year, I think no one really seems to want to take that. There's no Leicester running away with it or Burnley in years gone by running away with it. I mean, the fact that we're thereabouts is fantastic. I think we've had Andy Weinman score, the goal of the century this year against Burnley. So I think there's so many positives. I mean, it's so easy to be doom and gloom with football, but I think the Championship this season for Rovers, I think it's brilliant to watch. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Anyone can beat anyone on their day. And I know some people might say, it's a bit flat, but I think the Championship's great. Premier League can be quite boring, and they harp on Talk Sport about how it's this amazing league and it's the most competitive league in the world. When in reality, it's not. Southampton got smashed 5-0 on their own in the first half yesterday by Tottenham, who are struggling in their own right. So I think anyone who wants to kind of get the love back in football, start watching more Championship games on the EFL, and your love will be restored.
Okay. We'll end it on that perfect note. Thank you, Tom. Enjoy the game against Millwall then. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. The button is just below Tom there on the left-hand side, and we appreciate all the love and all the thanks and all the votes that we get. And we'll see you the other side for one more before Christmas. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Tom. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye.